So the current political atmosphere and situation has encouraged me to make another video. Um, Sometimes I just do my rantings on Facebook, and sometimes I feel like there's something more that needs to be said, and so I decide to make a video. And so this is one of those situations. In the past 24 hours or so, it has come out that Trump is going to be doing a bill, creating a bill and having it voted on that is going to allow something like 500 billion. Is that what it is? A big amount of money to go to the Black community in the United States. So here's my problem. Here's my problem that I have. I am very concerned about this particular move, and I'll tell you why. For the beginning of the Republican Party, the basis has been that we look at people like Martin Luther King Jr. said, the content of their character. Um, so for all this time, people have accused the Republican Party of being racist, even though it's completely unfounded. And yet, this has been the accusation, the common accusation that has come forth. And so people are like, well, you guys are racist, and so we're going to vote for the Democrats, even though the Democrats are systematically, not systemically, but systematically, it is in the core of the Democratic Party that they are racist. They were the ones that fought to keep slavery. They were the ones that created Jim Crow after slavery. They're the ones that created the KKK. They were the ones that attacked black, free blacks and Republicans and lynched them. They were the ones that were against the Civil Rights Bill. They were the ones that went in with the fire hoses. They are the ones that are now running the inner cities that are keeping American blacks and other minorities and poor whites in poverty and without a whole lot of hope and surrounded by crime. They're the ones that are systematically taking the fathers out of the homes and rewarding single parent or single motherhood. So they're doing all this kind of stuff that has been systematically racist, not systemically, but systematically racist for the last several, 2 centuries or so, however long the Democratic Party has existed. And the Republican Party has fought against them, and the Republican Party has been the party of equality and the party of just seeing people as people and understanding that we are all made in the image of God. There's no difference between us other than, you have different color eyes than I do. We might have different culture. We might speak different languages, but they're all inconsequential in the grand scheme of things. So this has been my praise of the Republican Party, even though I have much criticism of them. And so I have been largely on board with much of what the Republican Party has done. Not all of it. I have been mostly not on board with what the Democrat Party has done. But personally speaking, I'm more of a libertarian, kind of in the middle, somewhere definitely leaning conservative in some ways, definitely leaning liberal in other ways, especially some of the social ways. That being said, I was really happy with Trump's first 3 years. I did not support Trump in 2016. And I said, I'm going to watch because even though I really, really, really disliked him in 2016, I was like, okay, I give everybody a chance. I did it with Obama. I almost voted for Obama. And then even after he was elected, I said, okay, I'm going to watch. Maybe he'll be good. I've always done that. But with Trump, I was really, really impressed. And we can go down the list of things that he's done. He's done the First Step Act. He has cut down on illegal immigration, which disproportionately affects minority communities. He has attacked the trafficking rings, which has disproportionately affected minority communities. He is working in opportunity zones, which again is disproportionately benefiting minority communities. He is for school choice, which disproportionately advantages minority communities and whatnot. So everything that he's doing has been just naturally good for the Black community. But he has not put a Black label on it. And this is one of the things that I appreciate about him is he's doing what is good for the people that are in the most need. And a lot of those people in the most need, not all of them, but a lot of them happen to be Black or, other non-white. I don't even like all that terminology, but you know what I mean. So, minority communities, which happen to be the majority, right? In most communities. And so he has made a big lot of really, really good steps forward for these minority communities. And it has been consistently the left who has pandered, the left who has pulled out the hot sauce, the left who put the cunty class on, the left who has played Despacito, and all of these kinds of ridiculous, embarrassing um, acts of pandering that the left has done. And that's the only thing that they've done for the last 60 years is to say, oh, we fought against Blacks for all this time. We tried to keep them slaves. We did all this. We lost. So what we did is we discovered that, hey, you know what? We can keep them voting for us, as LBJ said, if we give them stuff. So you have to basically enslave them, but enslave them where they're actually willing and willing participants of their own slavery. Um, Now we have a problem. The Republican Party has been criticized for not reaching out to the Black community. I don't like saying that because it's not a community, it's not one group of people, they're individuals, but just like everybody else. But still, the Republican Party has been called racist because they've been against some of these programs that have been targeting, often racially, mostly racially, but been targeting Black communities in the guise of helping them. It's actually more often than not harm them. But everybody's just saying if you give money to the Black community, doesn't matter what happens or what the unintended consequences are of that money, you're giving money and therefore you care about them. It's kind of like all of these donations to BLM. If you donate to BLM, you care about Black people. We have no idea where the money went, but that's beside the point. And so it's the same sort of thing. We give money to Black communities. It's not helping, but the point is we're giving money. We continue to give money, so we care. You don't care because you're not giving money, even though clearly our programs are not working. So now all of a sudden we have this bill, and had it happened organically, I wouldn't have had a problem with it. In June, in May, and the beginning of the year, if I can't even think straight. If Trump had said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and make Juneteenth a federal holiday, I would have applauded him. I would have said, great, this is good because this is a good thing for the country, even though you got to look at the history of it and everything. But then again, we do have Columbus Day, and Columbus actually never came to North America. So that's kind of a ridiculous day. That's a different point. But yeah, so anyway, we're going to do Juneteenth, which is actually a Texas event, but still we can all celebrate the fact of what it represents and that it's about freedom, and we can all get around that. And I think it's great that we can all celebrate this day, and it doesn't just become a celebration for one particular group. That's great. But why is it happening right now? He's saying that he's going to call Antifa and the KKK terrorist organizations. Fantastic. This is good. I mean, KKK should have been called a terrorist organization long ago. Obama should have done it, and he didn't even touch it. So you've got to question him on that. I love the fact that Trump is actually pairing that with Antifa and saying it's both of these organizations. So he's holding them to the same standard because they're engaging in largely the same tactics, even though Antifa, arguably is not lynching people, but they are killing people. And they're certainly burning people and destroying people's stuff and terrorizing people. So, I think putting those in the same category, I think that's good. And I think that's a very deliberate way of him uniting and clearly differentiating between color. So I think that's good. I think actually giving Juneteenth recognition as a federal holiday is great because it's inviting all Americans into that celebration. And so all of us, hopefully, in this holiday every year, will be able to come together and say, look, we can look at bad things in our history, and then we can look at this moment when we decided as a country Some were forced to decide it, but one way or another, we decided that all people should be free. All people, and it wasn't women until after that, but ultimately it became all people were free and independent and you know, valuable, full humans is, and that it took some time, but that's the process. So I think it's great that that is, to me, that is about unity, and so is this idea of putting the KKK and Antifa together. I think it forces people to look at it not as a racial thing, but as just a matter of these are people that are attacking and abusing and threatening Americans. I don't care what color you are. If somebody is trying to harm you and somebody's trying to say either because of the way you look or the way you vote or the way you think that you are not worthy of having say, they're a terrorist. If they're doing it in a forceful manner, if they're doing it in a way that is intended to harm you or to intimidate you or to bully you or anything like that, whether they're actually doing physical violence or not. Physical violence is where it comes into a terrorist thing. So I think those are good. The $500 billion, I question. And the reason I question is not because I don't think that the money should be used. I think that it's fine to use it. I just question the timing is clearly about the election. We know that. But on the other hand, you've had the Black community saying, well, why are the Republicans not doing anything? And you will hear it over and over and over and over. When you talk to Black voters and say, why are you voting for the Democrats? And they say, well, what have the Republicans done for me? Well, now we can say the Republicans, they have done $500 billion for you. We can put a dollar amount. I don't like that because I don't like the idea of it's me versus you. I liked what Trump did before, where it was all Americans were benefiting from these things that he was doing, and it was not about race. Now suddenly it's about race, and that feels very icky to me. I don't like it. And so when he's accused of pandering, I say, yeah, he is pandering. But liberals, if you are going to accuse him of pandering, where were you when the Democrats have been pandering for the last 6 decades? After they horribly abused you, did all of this stuff, and then they're like, oh, well, actually, we're just going to make you our little puppy dogs. That's essentially what their objective was, is to just have you loyally following along. We're going to give you some treats here, and then you'll follow me. And that's what they've essentially created is this, and it's not a racial thing. It's the groups, whether it's um, white or black or Hispanic or whatever these groups that are women, educated people that are like, oh, we need more education and benefits and stuff like that. They throw you a few pieces and you continue to vote for them. And I hate that identity politics. So now Trump has entered into identity politics. And one of the things I liked about him is that he wasn't about identity politics. He was like, if you're American, this bill is for you. If you're not American, it's not. So now we're stuck because we kind of have to do this. I agree with doing it because, yeah, okay, I'm all about reparations if it's going to actually help the communities. I'm all about opportunity zones and all these kinds of things. Yes, let's make these communities better, but why are we saying it's black? Why can't we just say it's for struggling Americans and understand that that is going to be affecting minorities? It's going to be affecting single mothers. It's going to be affecting, a lot of, people that are disabled and things like that. Why can't we do that and continue to say we're just going to help Americans? I don't like putting that label on it. And it's not because I don't want to help Black people. I mean, if you know me, that's what my life has been. The majority of my life has been is working with all different kinds of minorities and not as a me versus them, but just as partnership and working alongside and working under. And I'm not trying to tell anybody what to do. That's just my life. um I don't know. This makes me sad and it makes me uh feel very icky. And I don't criticize Trump for doing it, and I understand why he did it, or why he's doing it, or why he's trying to do it. I don't know if it'll make a difference. I think it will make a difference for some. I think what it will do is it will remove the excuse. And people can no longer say, well, the Republican Party needs to be reaching out to the Black community more. Okay, that whole statement is racist. There's not a Black community, there's American communities. There are poor Black people, there are rich Black people, and there's a whole bunch of Black people in the middle of it, just like there are other people. Now, disproportionately, yes, there are more Black people that are poor and all that kind of stuff. So you have, yeah, there's numbers. I mean, I understand. I'm not ignorant of that, but when we put it as a label of race, we're not looking at individuals. And this is against the entire American psyche and the entire American philosophy and the way that we have been unique in that we have looked at people as individuals and not as groups. We have looked at people as groups and then we realized, hey, this is the wrong way of doing that. And then the rest of the world followed us as we set an example. How do we deal with this? I don't know. I don't have the answer. I don't like it though. That's it.